Howdy everybody, I'm your boy Wade. We are once again talking about Tyranids and Warhammer 40k. I am loving doing these Tyranid videos for you. I have done my walk rant, my fly rant, my neurothrope. That is usually what I take for my HQ choices. We're talking about 2k is usually what I take. So now we're going to go into elite choices. There is just a great many elite choices here that are wonderful to take. And I'm going to walk through what I usually take for mine. I'm going to do a video for every unit that I like to take. I enjoy how I use it, what it does for my army. And then I think after that I might do videos for just every other unit, talk about their strengths and weaknesses, stuff that I'm excited to use. But I just want to focus on what I use right now. So like I said, we've done all the other HQs. Go ahead and the HQs that I use. Go ahead and check those out. Walk Rant, Fly Rant, Neurothrope. I love all three of them. Great units. So useful. Today what I want to talk about is I want to talk about Tyrant Guard. Tyrant Guard are one of the most important things that you can take for your Tyrant. Here is my Tyrant Guard. This one had an arm pop off. They're all magnetized, so I just got to find it. It's in my carrying case, which is behind me right there. You're looking at my carrying case right there. But his arm is in there. I magnetized them all, so he is Scything Talons and Rending Claws. I'll get into that a little bit better here in a second. There's my Jungle Bug color scheme. And like I said, his arm is just magnetized. It came off during the last game. I took it off during the last game. Anyways, so we're talking about Tyrant Guard. Bang. Okay. Let's talk about Tyrant Guard. I'm going to continue to do my videos like High Fleet Leviathan. Even though in the most recent data slate balance, Leviathan took a big change. So, you know, everyone, the swarm is now spreading out and everybody is abandoning Leviathan. I'm going to take a look at Leviathan to try to see if I can still make it work. You know, the old days of warrior spam might be over. I'm still going to run Zonothropes. They're still wonderful. The next video I'm going to do is about Zonothropes. They're still wonderful. They're still tough. Don't get dissuaded by that. So once again, my videos, I try to give information for people who are really experienced, just kind of experienced, and brand new people. To all of you out in Facebook land, in the Facebook Tyranid groups that I'm in, I see lots of people asking questions, and anyone who asks questions, I usually try to answer. Just to give good information and try to be a part of the community. Because I feel like I got a pretty strong grasp on Tyranids. I feel like I got a strong grasp on Tyranids. I feel like I have a strong grasp on Necrons. And I really am excited to be kind of at the front of the push when it comes time for Imperial Guard. Because you might not know that I have an Imperial Guard tattoo. Anyways. So let's talk about High Fleet. So for the longest time I have been running Leviathan because it goes along with my story. Yeah, the transhuman and baby transhuman it was giving us synaptic control was a really great rule, and it helped us out a lot. So we are a little bit weaker now because of that. I am going to do a video about that data slate, about the current data slate that's out. Because one thing that I like is every time a new balanced data slate comes out, it's not the little chunk of information, then the chunk of information from before, then the chunk of information from before. They put out a new one that's everything that they've put out. And I do like that. I feel like Games Workshop does a lot of things messy and sloppy, and that right now is not one of them. So, good job, GW. But I'm going to do a whole video about that. Just so that we can wrap our heads around that. Because there were some big changes there. Anyways, still going to do Leviathan. So right now, Leviathan is only Synapse monsters get the transhuman. So they can't be wounded on a 1, 2, or 3. Only Synapse monsters. Okay, so this doesn't apply because Tyrant Guard are not monsters. They're infantry. But they're still really cool. So we got to use them. Okay, for you new players out there, use a unit for what it's good at. Take it for what it's good at. Tyrant Guard are tough. Tyrant Guard give extra wounds to your Tyrants. That's why they're called Tyrant Guard. That's what they're good at. Use them for what they're good at. Don't try to make it, they can't get any ranged weapons, but don't try to make it a weapons platform. Don't try to make it a super close combat monster. We have super close combat monsters. We have gun platforms. We have all that stuff. Swarm, hear me. Use a model for what it's good at. So anyways, let's look at the list. You get 3 of them, which is cool. Every model is armed with rending claws and scything talons. That's not bad. That's not bad. Movement is 6. It's kind of slow. Especially because a normal tyrant walks 9. So it's kind of slow. I don't like that. That's one of the things I don't like. Weapon skill 3, that's not terrible. It's not great, but what do you want? Do you want a 2? Tyrants are 2. Like, nobody else is 2 except for Tyrants, really. I mean, there could be some other examples that we have that's a 2+, but not a lot. Ballistic skill 4, who cares? No guns. Strength 5, that's pretty good. They say that you should build everything that you build to fight Marines, because if you can beat Marines, you can beat anything. That's what they say. Strength 5 puts you at wounding Marines on 3s, so that's not bad. Tough 6 is good, because any weapon that is tough 6 or higher starts to be the more expensive stuff and starts to be the really good stuff. Sure, your enemy's going to take the really good stuff, because they should, but tough 6 is good. I mean, that means you have to get shot at by a strength 12 before it's 2+ in you, so 4 wounds, that's good. So you're talking about 12 wounds altogether in the squad. If you only take 3. Taking 6, it's beefy, and it's a lot of points. But if you're playing a 2000 game or higher, it might be worth it. You might need the beef. Where's the beef? There is the beef. 3 attacks apiece, not bad. So you're walking around with 9 attacks. Before we talk about anything leadership, who cares? Because they're probably standing right next to a tyrant. 2+ save. That's a big deal these days, because you would need a AP4 weapon to give you a 6+ save. AP4 weapons are out there, but we're not really going to need it, and you'll see why. It's good, and I'm sure it will come in handy, but you won't really need it, and you'll see why. So let's just talk about what it comes with. It's going to come with scything talons. So you're going to be talking about strength 5, AP 1, does nothing to Marines really, 1 damage. Each time the bear fight, it makes 1 additional attack with this weapon. So, I mean, you're talking about each time the bear fights, it makes 1 additional attack with this weapon. So, I mean, there's some extra attacks going in there. It's not particularly strong, which is why, you know, you want to use those against when you're fighting Imperial Guard, or when you're fighting Orcs, or Tau Fire Warriors, or, you know, weak stuff. Weak sauce. Eldar Basic Infantry. But you want to use your Rending Claws when there's something a bit tougher. I like to use my Rending Claws. I pretty much only fight against Marines, Chaos Marines, AdMech, the best of Tau, so like Crisis Suits. That's pretty much all I ever play against, because it's all my friends have. I love my friends. I just need to play against new and different people. I mean, that's kind of what it is. So look out, Evolution Games in Lansing, Michigan. I'm coming for you. Anyways, so if you're going to use Rending Claws, you're talking about Strength 6, which is good. Here's the big deal. It's AP4. So it's hard to resist. You're going to get those wounds in. And sure, it's 1 wound apiece, but they've got staying power, so over some turns, you'll probably get in there. I am going to mention this because this is what I want to do. I never have enough points to do it. I want to do Crushing Claws. So, any number of models can each have their 2 Scything Talons replaced with one of the following. 2 Crushing Claws. So I want to take my Scything Talons off and use Rending Claws and Crushing Claws. I just don't have the points because it's like 30 points. Anyways, here's the point. You're talking strength 8, AP3. AP3 is good. You know, Marines are going to turn it into 2. But 2 damage, which means anything that goes through instantly kills a Marine. And I love the way the Crushing Claws look. So, like I said to you before, that's why I magnetized my Scything Talons. And so I'll be able to swap the Scything Talons for Crushing Claws. It's one of my projects that I'm working on. I've got 3 Tyrant Guard now. I should probably pick up another 3, but I'm not super worried about it because when I play with my good friends, I can just proxy stuff. Anyways, I know I've been talking a lot about what these weapons do and blah blah blah, but going into war gear, I'm gonna take adrenal glands. I put adrenal glands on everything in my army. Everything that I plan on close combating, which is like half the army, I put adrenal glands on everything. The only thing in my army that has toxin sacks is both tyrants. It's a cheap upgrade, and I think it's worth it for your tyrant. Lash whips are good. It's not what I want to use. I want to be using rending claws or crushing claws. That's just what I want to use. So keep in mind the adrenal glands is going to give you a +1 to your movement. So now their movement is 7. It's better. It's also giving you a +1 to your strength. So that's going to turn your Scything Talons into 6. It's going to turn your Rending Claws into 7, which is, you know, not super great. It's not an 8. And it's going to turn your Crushing Claws into 9, which is kind of dumb, but whatever. It's still strength 8 or better because you're trying to get double the toughness of Space Marines, so that you can get 2s to wound a Space Marines. That's what we're trying to do. Because if you can do that, you can hypothetically hurt anything. So war gear, adrenal glands. That's it. That's where I'm at. War gear options. I already told you if I had the points, I would turn the Scything Talons into Crushing Claws. It's all about the abilities. So here's the abilities. Guardian Organism. So you got to remember, in the data slate, they changed how Guardian abilities work. So while a friendly Hive Fleet Tyrant model is within 3 inches of this unit, enemy models cannot target that Hive Tyrant model with ranged attacks. So basically what they did is they made it look out, sir. Okay, so go to your rule book and figure out look out, sir. They basically made it like look out, sir. So normally you can't do look out, sir for a character with more than 9 wounds, I believe. So because the Tyrant is a monster, this rule allows this unit to do look out, sir for a Tyrant, and only a Tyrant. Recently I played a game against Justin. I got my pants beat off of me by his Chaos Knight, but that's a different story. Justin, I hope you're watching this because I'm coming for that night. Anyways, here's the story. Moving up the table, I had 2 Tyrants, my Walk Rant and my Fly Rant, hiding behind this unit of guard. They were in V formation, so 1 in the front and 2 in the back, and we were hiding behind buildings, but we were pressing forward, moving up the board, with the Tyrant Guard guarding both of the Tyrants. And because they're in a triangle or a V, the Tyrants were back here. They're the closest to everybody. You got to force people to shoot them, or melee them, whatever. But here's the point. If your Fly Rant cannot melee combat somebody in turn 1, that's okay. It's rare, because there's lots of things that you can do. Look at my Fly Rant video. There's lots of things that you can do. But a 7-inch move, or even, you know, advance, the roll of 3, because that's your average, get a 10. A 10-inch move, and then the Fly Rant moves up behind them, and they guard him. The board is your smorgasbord at that point in time. You should be able to melee anything on the board at that point in time. So, keep in mind, they character protect, they look out, sir, the Hive Tyrants. That is their main job. Tyrant goading. While this unit is within 3 inches of a friendly Hive Tyrant, models add +1 to their attack characteristic of models in this unit. Okay, So they would have 3 attacks, now they have 4 attacks. 4 attacks apiece, there's 3 of them, 12 attacks. 12 attacks is pretty good. 12 attacks with Crushing Claws sounds pretty great to me. 12 attacks with Rending Claws sounds pretty great to me. A Blade of Brood, if your army is Battleforged, then for each Hive Fleet, Hive Tyrant model included in your detachment, you can include 1 Hive Fleet Tyrant Guard unit in your detachment without taking up a battlefield slot. So remember at the beginning of this video when I said our army is really hungry for elite choices? This makes it so it doesn't take an elite slot. You basically get them in no slot, which allows you to take other elites, which is great. Which is great. Okay. So they're not bad as is. Let me tell you how to make them great. Okay. The Tyrant that you take, that, I mean, hypothetically, both Tyrants can hide behind them. Anyways, one of your Tyrants, I do it with my Flyrant because my Walkrant has the Warlord trait that gives him the 5+ Feel No Pains. Anyways, in your Psychic phase, use your Walkrant, your Flyrant, to give them Catalyst, which gives them a 5+ Feel No Pain. Anytime they would lose a wound, so after you've taken the wounds, and let's say you get shot with a damage 2 weapon, okay, they hit you, they wounded you, and now it's time to take 2 wounds. You would get to roll a 5+ to ignore it, and then a 5+ to ignore it. They can't shoot the Tyrants, so they're going to shoot the Tyrant Guard. So use the Psychic Power Catalyst on them. So look at my Walkrant and my Flyrant videos, and you can see where all these strategies start to come together. So you use the Neurothrope to do Warp Siphon on both of your Tyrants to give them more dice in the Psychic phase. That then doesn't for sure ensure your Psychic power is going off, but it's almost guaranteed. Anyways, so then you use Catalyst Psychic power on the Hive Guard, or sorry, the Tyrant Guard, so that your Tyrant Guard has the 5+ Feel No Pain Catalyst. Okay, that's pretty rocking. Then use your Hive Nexus Psychic power from the Neurothrope. Watch the Neurothrope video to give them, to activate on them the Psychic Imperative of the Zonothropes, which they're not a monster, but it would give them a 5+ invulnerable save. So they got a 5+ invulnerable save, then they've got a 5+ Feel No Pain, and counting on 5s is not great. It's not where you want to be, but it will save them. They will last longer. They're already tough 6. They already have 4 wounds apiece. They're going to be tough. What you want to do is you want to make your opponent have so many choices to make, so many obstacles, that round 1, or sorry, that idea 1, they've got so many choices to make, they're going to make a bad choice because they've got so many things that they have to deal with. You want to push them into making bad choices. So if you go ahead and you read Sun Tzu's Art of War, one of the principles in Art of War is where to fight, choosing where to fight, the conditions of heaven and earth. Okay, that is making people make choices, which is how Napoleon was defeated at Waterloo. Napoleon should not have fought at Waterloo. He did not mind the conditions of earth. Okay, look it up. That's how it works. So make your opponent make choices. So, you know, rush forward with your Tyrannifex. Rush forward with your 30-man squad of Gaunts. They're, if I don't kill these 30 Gaunts, they're going to get to me and they're going to have a bajillion attacks. If I don't kill this Tyrannifex, you know, it's got a super high toughness and tons of wounds, then it's going to wreck me. If I don't shoot these Tyrant Guard, I'm going to have to, you know, I won't be able to wound the Tyrants and the Tyrants will get me. Okay? That's pressure. Put all that pressure on your opponent. In one of my videos, I think it's the Neurothrope video, I talk about my strategy where I crash. So I advance, I shoot while I'm advancing, and then turn 2 or turn 3, ideally turn 2, I crash. I get as many units in melee combat as Tyranidly possible. I almost said as humanly possible. But anyways, bring your Tyrant Guard into combat with your Tyrant, because remember, Tyrant goading, they get a +1 to their attacks. Okay, it's awesome. Next synergy. So you can make them tougher with Hive Nexus, which is the Leviathan psychic power, and Catalyst, which is a psychic power. You can make them tougher. Make them tough. Make them last longer. And then take a 6-man. You have any idea how tough it is to move a 6-man? Let's see. 6, 12, 24. 24 wounds with 6 models, which means there's going to be fire breaks when they're taking wounds that they're going to lose wounds on. With a 5+ feel no pain and a 5+ invulnerable save, with a 2+ regular save, they're gonna last. Okay, they're gonna last. The rending claws will be strength 7, which is pretty good. If you take the crushing claws, it'll be strength 9, so they'll be able to attack back, hit back pretty hard. And we're not even done yet, okay? Because the next thing I'm going to suggest to you is because they're core, use Will of the Hive Mind on them. Will of the Hive Mind is great for warriors. So all Will of the Hive Mind is doing is allow you to reroll 1s. But the turn which your Tyrant and your Tyrant Guard get into combat, and I would suggest sending them into the same combat, because the Tyrant, the Walkrant, he's going to be able to do a lot with his Bone Sword and his Lash Whip. He's going to be able to do a lot. But your Tyrant Guard can finish that off. The wounds and stuff from them can finish it off. And I even suggest multi-charging. So, you know, your Tyrant Guard are in front, move your Tyrant Guard over here to do this assault on this unit, and then maybe move your Tyrant in to do this assault over here on this unit. Or charge them in and multi-charge the same unit. Anyways, point is, you're going to make things evaporate. So then I suggest, in your command phase, if you don't have a better option, or you feel like your warriors have got it, if you're using warriors, a lot of people are going to ditch warriors now. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to try to keep them. They're not terrible. The Bone Swords is what does it for me. Strength 8, AP 2, 2 damage Bone Swords. Okay. Anyways, so use Will of the Hive Mind. It lets them reroll 1s, so they're going to roll 12 attacks, let's say, with their Crushing Claws or their Rending Claws. 2s are going to miss, but 3 and above is going to hit. You're going to reroll 1s. You're going to get some of those 1s back. You're going to get half of those 1s back. So it's like you're basically going to hit 75% of the time. 75% of your attacks, basically. Obviously, it's a dice game, so there's always chance involved. There's days where your dice are going to suck. There's days where your dice are going to be on fire. But rerolls are great. Give yourself rerolls. Rerolls are great. Look into my eyes. Rerolls are great. Give yourself rerolls. So, in my Flyrant video, I said get your murder on. In my Walkrant video, I said get your shooting on. In my Neurothrope video, I said get your psychic on. In this video, I am going to say get your guarding on. Guard your tyrants. Give them extra wounds. Pair them with tyrants like I've been talking about. If you run tyrants, run Tyrant Guard. It's great, unless it's super low. If it's 500 points and you're bringing a tyrant and 500 points, you should wreck the table. You're also kind of cheesy if you do that. If you know the term cheese, it's a cheese move. But you should rule the table in 500 points with a tyrant. Here's the strats for you, though. Like I said, I give adrenaline glands. Everything else you're doing, I realize I just read this wrong. Adrenaline Surge. It's a stratagem. Go ahead and use Adrenaline Surge. It's going to give them an additional attack. So then you're going up to 5 attacks. You're talking about 15 attacks. And that's just with the 3-man. So it's 1 CP. I would rather be using it on Tyrants and big monsters and stuff like that. But if you don't have a better option, use Adrenaline Surge, 1 CP. Here's something that you may not have thought of. Rapid Regeneration. Because it just says pick a model. It doesn't say it has to be a character. It doesn't say it has to be a monster. It doesn't say it has to be a tyrant. It says a model. So you would get 1d3 hit points back, or 1d3 wounds back. Look at me saying D&D terms. But here's the point. Let's say your enemy is shooting all this stuff, putting all this firepower into you, and because you've got the 5 plus feel no pain and the 5 plus invulnerable and a toughness of 6, let's say he's only able to do 3 wounds. Okay, single model's got 4 wounds. Okay, so then you've got 2 guard at full wounds and 1 guard with 1 wound left. It's your turn. You spend 1 CP. You roll the D3. Let's say you get a 3. So they invested all of that shooting into your Tyrant guard that you've pumped up, and then you heal 3 wounds, and you basically, with 1 CP, do away with all that. It makes your guard live longer. Make them tough. Make them live longer. Get your guard on. Instinctive Rampage. So this is the stratagem that's basically made just for your Tyrant guard. And I would keep this in mind because in the games that I play, the Flyrant dying is almost an inevitability. Because if I charge him in, then like my entire opponent's army drops back and everyone just shoots him. Sure, it's kind of advantageous for me because then they basically spend a whole time just shooting him. Or, you know, my enemy's most strongest guys are tied up melee combating him. But you got to be prepared for the fact if he dies, okay? But if he dies, use Instinctive Rampage, 1 CP. Check this out. Use this stratagem in any phase when a Hive Fleet, Hive Tyrant model from your army is destroyed by an enemy unit until the end of the battle. So this transforms this unit until the end of the battle. Each time a friendly Hive Tyrant Guard model declares a charge, if that enemy unit is a target of that charge, add 4 to the charge roll. Add 4 to the charge roll. So basically the Tyrant Guard gets pissed that a Tyrant died, and now their charge rolls are better. As well, that's bullet point number 1. Each time a friendly Hive Fleet, Hive Tyrant Guard unit makes an attack against the enemy unit, add 1 to that attack's hit roll and add 1 to that attack's wound roll. Okay, so then their 3s are now 2 pluses. If you have the other Tyrant doing Will of the Hive Mind on him, then you're basically hitting on 1 pluses. Because you can't miss. I think 1s automatically do miss, but you get to reroll your 1s with Will of the Hive Mind, so you're going to get a lot of attacks that are going to hit. Like almost all of your attacks are going to hit. And +1 to the wound roll. So, you know, if you're using those rending claws, you know, you're talking strength 7 versus 4, so you need 3s, so then you need 2s. It's like you went up to strength 8. So keep that in mind. It's a great strategy for your Hive Guard. I'm going to look at the keywords Infantry, Core, and Tyrant Guard. Core is the thing that is, Infantry and Core is what's important for Will of the Hive Mind there. I keep them close to my Tyrants. Doing this video, what I learned was rapid regeneration affects them and can affect them, so keep your eye on that. Things that are easy to forget. Everyone needs to shoot the guard, so soup up the guard. Everyone's got to shoot them, because if you move your Tyrant correctly, they can't shoot him. Okay? So, you can put your Tyrant behind a wall, and then you can put your Tyrant Guard behind a wall, so the enemy can't see the Tyrant Guard. Then have your Tyrant sticking out on the other side of that wall. He's still within 3 inches. So everyone can see the Tyrant, but just as long as the guard are the closest thing to the enemy unit. Hey man, it's a thing. I don't like it. I don't like doing it, but it's a thing. Look into it. Yeah, so what's easy to forget is that you have to soup up the guard until they're dead. and then you can put your buffs in other places. It's easy to forget that they're core, so you can put Will of the Hive Mind on them, which is great. And then I would say it's easy to forget that you can rapid regen them. And rapid regenning them is pretty good in my opinion. Because you keep them alive, you keep your Tyrant alive. You keep your Tyrant alive, your Tyrant can get their murder on and get their shoot on. You can use... I would advance with them to get them as far up the table as possible, because you want them to be able to keep up with your Tyrant. I was thinking about a previous edition stratagem. But anyways, yeah, so that is Tyrant Guard, everybody. They're a great unit. If you're using a Tyrant, go ahead and use Tyrant Guard, unless it's a really super slow, a super low model point game. If you like what you've seen today, if this was useful to you, if you enjoyed this, go ahead and put a group of Tyrant Guard right next to the like and subscribe button so they can guard the like and subscribe button and nobody else can shoot them. But remember to keep the like and subscribe button behind the Tyrant Guard so that they're not the closest. The rules of Lookout, sir. I appreciate you guys. I see a lot of questions out there in the Facebook groups and Facebook land, so I am putting these videos to you, Facebook land. If you have a strategy, if you have something that you do, if you have a pairing that you like and that you use, go ahead and drop me a comment. Go ahead and let me know. I really enjoy being a part of the community and sharing with the new players what I know. And maybe you're a really experienced competitive NID player. Maybe I showed you something that you didn't know. Anyways, I appreciate all your likes and your comments. Go ahead, feel free to subscribe so you get all my content when it comes out. Thank you guys so much for being a part of my YouTube channel. And all I want to say is I understand that many of us are successful adults with jobs and kids and wives and husbands and all kinds of stuff out there. You got a lot of responsibilities. You have a lot of options where you can spend your time. So I want to say thank you for spending time with us here at the Dragon's Lair.